Okay, so as we were saying before, it seems to me it doesn't work. This whole utopia. I think it's just like a dream or something.
Okay. Yeah. People will say that it's got worse. I think that it's impossible to say that. People's lives are improved in so many ways, but it's a big argument. I'm not going to be able to contribute in such a small time to it. But what I would propose as an experiment is to deploy the best AI to people with disabilities. That it is beyond dispute that with people with disabilities, that their lives are so miserable with extreme disabilities that without the deployment of even extreme AI-driven tools,
Like what?
like for instance holistic holograms, for instance people who are mentally retarded, severely mentally retarded, or various other forms of that if they were able to have hologramic artificial intelligent games, even to be strapped up to games in a completely artificial life, even to be things that to find stimulation, maybe able to recognize retina works or interests, or how the stimulation of the eye, and using the best techniques of AI recognition deployed with people with disabilities in order to stimulate, to create some sort of solace for an extreme
Different example.
situations. Another example is people with depression, or people with psychiatric or loneliness. If they could have AI to mimic human life, to mimic friends, to call.
Why mimic? Why not connect? That's the question. Why mimicking?
Why not connect? And thank you very much for the question. I think that these are very pointed questions. I'm not saying that human connections are not important. They are critical. But mimicking I think it's been demonstrated that you can mimic and it can be just as good. So if you can mimic and it can be just as good, and that the technique can be copied, then one can use AI structures which are modeled on the best human practices and then even improved on. And I'm not saying that should be a replacement for human interactivity, and I don't know where that would develop, and it's going to develop in many ways, and obviously unforeseen ways also, and it could also be negatively deployed. I'm not talking about the potential for things to be negatively deployed. I'm thinking about how they can be positively deployed. So the question of what will happen in the future, I won't address now. What I will say is that in the case of people with disabilities, there maybe is no debate that extreme deployment of the best AI is humane, and that requires. That's the same for organ transplants, or artificial limbs, or DNA experimentation, or grafts of skin, or using bacteria or a virus to fight diseases, or any deployment using extreme instruments. That we're on the frontier of all of these subjects, and I'm proposing that they can be deployed wholeheartedly in the case of people with disabilities, and I would also go on to say aging, because let's extend the frontiers of aging using whatever people choose to do, and let the people who are aging, or let the people, give them the equipment to deal with their situations. So, and empower not a government which doesn't understand individual circumstances, empower the individual that can understand their circumstance, and with other groups, and they can find the solutions to solve their problems. So that's the way I'm looking at it.